If you've ever made a loop that sounds so good that you're scared to mess it up, I know this feeling. I used to get stuck in the same 8 bars for hours and struggle to finish my tracks. That was until I started using this simple 3-step method that helped me break out the loop trap fast and actually helped me to finish songs without losing that creative spark. My name's Ben and I've used this technique on tracks that have got signed, played in clubs, played on the radio. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use it so you can shape your tracks quickly and finally finish the music you've been meaning to release. So before we dive in, here's the heart of the problem. As producers, we like to stay in this creative zone as much as possible. When we're making a loop, that's creative. When we're building the entire track, that's also creative. But to escape the loop, sometimes what we need to do just for a moment is come out of the creative mode and think practically. This actually helps protect your creative energy, and I'll show you how in step 2. So I always begin with just a few core layers. As you can see in this track, there's just a couple of drum layers, kick, clap and a shaker. There's a bass layer and a couple of instruments. These two are actually a duplicate of each other. They're just some chords which I really liked. One's a synth and one's a piano. So really nice and simple there. And the reason I like to keep it simple is because if your song doesn't sound that good just with a few layers, then in my experience, it's not going to sound any better if I just start adding more to it. And it also really helps on the next stage to keep it nice and minimal. So let's have a quick listen to this loop. So really nice and simple, and what we usually do here is I'll just go in on this loop trying to perfect it, and that's where we're going to get stuck, but we don't want that to happen. So we've been creative so far in making a loop. We're going to be creative again shortly, but this is where we just need to think practically, and what that means is that we need this song to be 3 to 4 minutes, not 8 to 16 bars. So here's a really simple trick to very quickly escape the loop, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all the layers and simply drag them all the way across about 3 to 4 minutes. I'll stop at about 4 minutes there. And very quickly we are now out of the loop. Okay, now we can jump straight back into the creative mode. So what I usually like to do is play the track from start to finish, and I just start making cuts where I think it needs. So I'm not going to start out with a kick and the bass straight away, so I can just chop those out there. I don't want the clap as well, but the shaker loop's quite nice. The melody's way too early. So look at that, basically with one listen through of the song, I've almost got a nice structure to start off with. And this is just a bass line, but the most important thing here is that we didn't stay in the loop and get stuck there. We just stretched it out over 3 to 4 minutes, and now I've chopped it up and broken it up so that we've got a really nice bass line. From there, I can start adding on more layers. I can make sure it all works as a full track. That might take a little bit more time. That's getting back into the creative mode. But this has basically just helped us get straight out of the loop really quickly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up the finished track and you can see what I added on. Okay, here's the finished track, and you'll be able to see that anything I added on was added with intention, because the first few layers I really liked and they sounded good. So anything I added on from there on is just going to complement the track rather than distract or take away from it. So the main things added in here, there's this whole vocal section. And I did a little bit more with the lead, lots of automations, and added some effects in there. Added another bass layer just to make it a little bit more deep and warm. There's lots more drums going on, as you can see here. Sound a lot more full, and I've got this whole kind of atmospheric and texture layers going on in the background. So I'll just play a little bit of this track and you can see how it's come along. Okay, now if you're sitting on tracks that are 90% finished and they just need a solid master to finish them off, then check out this video where I break down my super simple master chain. It's inspired by John Summer and the aim is to get your tracks release ready. Thank you for joining this video and I'll catch you on the next one.